Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out Supremacy MMA Unrestricted. Yeah, I know. This came out like in 2012 at some point and I'm only just getting around to it now, but honestly I had nothing better to do and I've been wanting to get this off the recording Vita for some time, so I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. So let's just hop into the main menu. There's really not that much to see, but I'll take you through as much of it as I can anyway. So, your main modes are all here, and most of them are about what you expect. We'll go over them in a second once we check out the options, because there's not that many of them. I mean, you do have a fair few things going on here. If you're a little bit skittish, you may want to turn off injuries. I'm not going to, I just recommend that you probably should. And you also have a couple of things here, including button cues. I don't know why you would ever turn this off, and there's a reason for that. We'll get to it. There's your controls for standing, for clinching and when you're on the ground, and for touch controls. Yes, the touch controls are honestly terrible. You should never use them. And you also have to shake the Vita to turn on rush mode, which seems entirely unnecessary. Oh, also I should point out, despite the fact that the D-pad doesn't actually get used for anything in this game, you can't actually use the D-pad to move or do any sort of inputs. It's all on the analog stick, which is even worse considering that this game has bloody stepping to the side a la Tekken and Dead or Alive. You know, it's a 3D fighter. So doing double taps on an analog stick feels terrible, and I don't know why they would do this. You also have some sound settings. That's cool. You can also turn the music tracks on or off. Now, I have listened to a lot of metal. It is a thing that I do from time to time, and I have never heard of any of these people. I've heard of none of them. I've heard of none of these songs, so God only knows where they got them from, but it probably didn't cost them very much. This game was actually a thing before MMA became a really big thing in well, basically in the West, more or less. I remember that MMA got big around, what was it, 2014? Like, it really came into the limelight, like, a few years ago. This game came out just a little bit before that, so nobody knew what MMA was. If they released this, like, a year or two later, maybe they would have gone lucky. But no, unfortunately, they did not. So you can go to your fighter progression and see what the XP is for all the dudes. There's like 18 different people, but they've got mostly the same... Well, it's not the same moveset, but most of them feel identical to play despite the different styles. Training is exactly what you think it is. You just have the ability to fiddle with the AI a bit and you never run out of health. We'll come back to Femme Fatales. That was my chair, by the way. And then you've got your main modes up here. You've got Fight Now, which is exactly what it sounds like. You versus the AI or watching two AIs fight. You've also got tournaments. Now, tournaments are a little bit bizarre. So you've got Battle Royale and Survival Ladder. Battle Royale is like a head-to-head tournament. And, you know, you start with 8 people, you go to 4, you go to 2, and then you've got the winner. Survival Ladder is exactly what it sounds like. You go up the ladder, and if you manage to win, you go through to the next round, but you only have slightly more health than you did at the end of the last match, so it carries over more or less. The thing is, in Battle Royale, the health also carries over too, but not for you, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So you're going down, and you're expected to believe that these two guys that you have to fight in the semi-final and final round took no damage whatsoever. It's kind of bizarre. And those are the only those are the only modes there. That's all they are. And Supremacy Stories, it's your arcade mode, more or less. You have your little cutscenes in between fights that'll tell you exactly what the deal is, and then you just fight people. It doesn't even seem to be remotely related to the plot who you fight, you just end up fighting people. So if we hit continue story...
Well, hello, sweetheart.
Another thing about America, it's the entertainment. Always better than anything we got on the telly back home.
We will find your arms and bring you home, and you watch all the telly you want in the fucking hospital.
Right? Maybe. But from now on, I find my own fights.
I wonder if that was the entire cutscene, because usually it is, but sometimes they just plop in a second one for no reason whatsoever. Nope, that was it. So I guess we get to fight now. We get to see our dude, we get to see their dude. And a little bit of an arena. Come at me, bro. Alright, so here's your basic controls. Now, if you're having trouble getting the general idea of what this game's like, just let me give you the idea right up front. It's more or less the fighting system of Tekken with Dead or Alive's controls. You've got square to punch and triangle to kick. You've got L to block. And circle is your parry, but it doesn't work half the time. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You've also got some weird shit going on with the game's controls and what button you need to press at the right time, but we'll get to that. You have the X button, which lets you go into grabs, and you can either try and fight them off, or you can hammer the grab button again to try and put them on their ass in order to get more hits in, but they can come out at any time, and unless you press the circle button in unbelievably tiny amount of time that you've got, you're not going to get anything done, because those button prompts don't show up for anywhere near long enough to actually give you an idea of what you need to do. So as you can see, it's annoying because these, the two button prompts that they expect you to press there, which is L and circle, come up so differently between almost identical looking punches that it's almost impossible to use those prompts as any sort of sign for anything, and you get no bloody time to determine what you will need to press otherwise. So that's what I say when I mean, that's what I mean when I say, why would you bother turning off the button prompts? They are actually kind of useful, but only sometimes. It's really weird. You've got some more controls, obviously. Now, since I have filled up my rush meter, I can go into rush mode. And now if he actually decides to attack me, I get more time on my parries. Yes, my neck did just get broken. That is actually a thing that happens. Wait until you play in an arena that has Alienware branding on the outside. It's kind of bizarre. Nevertheless, we'll just move on. These story cutscenes are incredibly cliche. I don't even know if it's them voicing them. And by them, I mean the fighters in question. Some of them are just silly. Like, there's a couple of them... Like, there's a story of a Chinese guy I played through. I think he was Chinese. Might have been Japanese. I don't honestly remember. But there's a story where he has to go and find his brother, and he does it by beating the shit out of everyone. It plays out like a really cliche, like, Chinese revenge story. And then at the very end, I broke the brother's neck in a fight, and then it had such a quick outro that it made me think I accidentally killed my brother, and it was hilarious. But nevertheless, we get to have another fight with another dude, with another fighting style. Alright, so to continue on with the controls I was talking about earlier, you can press the R button to do a feint, but it doesn't really help much with the... It doesn't really help much with the... whatchamacallit. Doing feints doesn't actually help much against the AI because they know pretty much what you're going to do, so just feinting doesn't really seem to affect much. Now, I can hit the... Oh. Well, that was lucky. I just completely guessed that was going to... Oh, I didn't even guess. I just got super damn lucky. But if I just hammer... Yeah, there we go. It just puts him down eventually. There is combos in this game, but there doesn't really seem to be much of a point to them. And these analog movement stick minigames are unfair because half the time you don't even know when they're coming, and the AI gets a massive boost to them, they get to start wiggling the sticks before the meters have even come on screen. So you don't even know whether or not it's going to happen, and even then, you don't know when it's going to happen, and when you do, you just get really lucky. So you have to just be hoping that you pick the right time to take your fingers off the analog sticks. I'm not going to claim to know what half of the terminology is for this sort of stuff anyway, because I don't watch MMA, never really have. The game tells you to do things like parry hits and then counter them with the X button, but parrying I found just like out here normally doesn't work half the time. Sometimes it does, but yeah, even then when you do something like that, they just get out of it for free, and then they get to. It's just, yeah, I don't get why they get free unfair opportunities on that, but they do. It's really bizarre. Just stop hanging on to me, you twit. You see, he just gets it for free. Like, so yeah, I just activated rush mode. It gives you more time on the parries, as I said before, and that's pretty much it. It might also make you a little bit stronger, but honestly, I don't really know the difference. So, yeah, you really don't get much time. Also, it's notable that when you're in rush mode, if someone starts attacking you, if someone goes in for something that you really need to parry, and the game starts going into its slow motion, you can hit another button thinking, oh, I'll just need to do something else next, just before the prompt to hit circle comes up, and you'll get to watch the entire animation in slow motion for a while, and it's really shit. The game does have a separate set of controls when it's on the ground like this. But it seems to be more or less the same stuff anyway. So yeah, that was me getting my shit kicked in because there was so many analog stick games in that one. It's so unfair. Also, didn't get any XP for that one whatsoever, but screw that. We're just going to go back to the main menu, and we're just going to hit random for a few fights, because, like, why not? It's honestly no different. You've seen a couple of samples of the cutscenes. Now let's just go and hit random for a bit. I'll be on the left. Oh, when you level up, by the way, you get the opportunity to change your clothes. That's pretty much it. Everybody has a separate XP, and you have to level them all up to maximum in order to actually... You have to level them up to maximum in order to actually get the Platinum Trophy. You do also have to play this game online, which... Yeah, good fucking luck. Who are we? We are... Jens Pulver versus Jack Saxon. Right. So if we hit the start button, we can actually go and have a look at the command list. And when I said this game's a lot like Tekken, yeah, look at that. That is like pretty much a sort of... Well, it's more like Mortal Kombat actually now I think about it. But still, it's a very simple combo list, and if you don't know the dude you're playing, you just come in here, find your longest combo, and that's pretty much it. Ignore the feints, because there's really no point to them. But yeah, I've got a square, 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 and then a square up, and then a triangle, 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 triangle. So that's pretty much good enough, I think. This guy can't kick, obviously, because he's a boxer, but... Yeah, they all play pretty much the same way. Kicks and punches... well, it's kind of hard to determine what they are depending on what... It depends on what character you're playing, obviously. And they all play slightly different. Like, they're not all identical. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a heavy similarity to most of the characters in this game. At least they do look relatively decent. I mean, this was a launch era title. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt for this one because, I mean, considering how close this was to the Vita's launch, it actually looks okay. The main big thing that I'm annoyed with let me try that again. The main thing I'm kind of annoyed with... See, the way to get out of the pins like that is to hammer the X button. But sometimes they'll just throw a random circle out at you and you won't be able to see it coming until you've already missed the prompt. And again, that's just another reason why I do not like this game very much. Ouch. Down I go. Let's give that another try before we go back to the main menu and do another random. Because the loading times in this game are also not great. You just get no warning that that's coming, and by the time you've already got into it, there's a 50-50 chance the AI will already have gone halfway up it, and it's frustrating as hell. Every fighting style does have its own challenges that you can do, and when you do the challenges, you get free XP for it. So it's and by every fighting style, I mean every character that has the same fighting style. The challenges are the same across fighters, I think. Just another problem that I have with the game is that it's one of the stiffest games I've ever played. It feels like it takes a really long time for anything that's not a combo to come out. I mean, I know some other fighting games have problems with this as well. Like, I remember the original Tekken having this problem somewhat, but... Wow, how did I not win that? It looked like I was winning there, but it just didn't take. Yeah, you really want... Fuck me. Just let me up. And fuck this boxer dude. You really do want some good kicks, because a good kick can actually knock a dude over, but if you're doing nothing but punches, you... Of course, I press the X button to go for a grab, but a millisecond after he goes for his, and that means I can't press the button because there's no bloody tells in this game, because of course there isn't. But yeah, it's one of the stiffest sort of fighting games that I have ever played. It feels incredibly slow if you're not just going into one of the pre-made combos, which is why I go into combos all the time, because it just sucks having to... Let me just get this loading. It just sucks having to throw out the really slow moves because you didn't take the time to memorize every single combo. So you just get the really long one that they can't block forever. And then just throw it all out there. Let's see what it gives me this time. What's the bet? I got the same damn boxer dude. No, I got someone else, apparently. Oh, it's Jack Saxon. I've been seeing a lot of this guy. That's my email going off. If I'm being perfectly honest, the soundtrack just blends into the background. Hang on, I'm gonna... Now let's look up the command list for this guy. What has he got? He's got... Square, square, down, down, square. That is a lot of, like, ridiculous combos, in all honesty. I don't think the game's very well balanced either. It does seem like some characters are just outright more powerful than others at times. The fucking constant parries are just stupid. Especially when it's the AI just doing them constantly. It drives me nuts. Now, come on, I actually did parry that. That was absolutely a win on my end, but no. No, I don't get that. There is also apparently locational damage, but I'll be damned if I can tell what doing damage to a certain part of the body actually does. Oh man, I'm trying to do a sidestep here, but it's so unreliable. Can't even pull off one damn sidestep because the really stupid controls and the fact that it's on an analog stick, so you have no idea if you're getting it right. And the game does say the grapplers can do a... Oh, come on, really? You had that one so bloody quick. Gotta try and get that. There we go. Broke his leg. Watch this. Oh, that's gotta sting. So yeah, I get all that XP, that'll put me to level 2. And that'll get me blue shorts. Apparently the skins do get better as you level up, but frankly, I can't see anyone playing this game long enough to actually get much out of it in terms of the leveling system. Yes, you can play this game online, but who will be playing this? Who in their right mind would be playing this over Tekken 7, KOF 14, Smash, Undenied In-Birth, which is brilliant, and just showed up on Evo and suddenly got 3 times as popular for some reason. That's nice. Even things like Fighting EX Slayer deserve more time than this stiff, slow, and just generally unpleasant to play game. So weird playing this when there's an actual, like, official UFC game out from EA, and they just... Well, I don't think they kind of saw it coming. I think they were ready to... I think they just kind of jumped on the opportunity as soon as they could get it, because it's EA. They're, of course, they're money-hungry bastards. Hang on, I'll look up this guy's command list so that I'm not a horribly stiff bastard. Square, 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 triangle. That's fine. What about kicks? Kick, kick, kick. That will do. See, they even list, like, individual moves there, which seems kind of... Oh, come on, really? They even list individual moves there, which seems like a bit much. I mean, like, it's the combos tab, not the individual moves tab. Oh, come on, I was pressing square there. Because you can get hits on them while they're down. For some reason, I just can't seem to do it this time. Get off me. Oh, fuck this constant parrying bullshit. I'm trying to do it here, but it just won't let me. Apparently you earn tiny amounts of XP by actually doing the fights, and then you actually have to win in order to get any sort of good amount of XP whatsoever. We'll do this one fight, and then we'll go and have a look at the Femme Fatales, which is amusing in many ways, which we'll talk about shortly. So look at that, there's bloody Alienware signs in games where guys' necks are very clearly broken and very unpleasant. So bizarre. Alright, so let me just hit start to get the command list again. So we have square, square, down, down. Great, it's going to be one of these dudes again. Brilliant! There's this one character who has a, whatchamacallit, who has a combo that goes from, who has a combo that goes punch, 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 punch really quickly and then straight into a clinch or a grab or whatever the hell you want to bloody call it. And that combo was almost unbeatable, to the point where I was winning pretty much every time just by... How did I lose that? I was in the lead until the very last frame. What the fuck? At least that's what it looked like when I was actually trying to do it. Come on, you big baby. That didn't hurt that much. Oh, chair again. This chair is getting very old and creaky. Right. Back to the main menu to talk about the Femme Fatale side of things. So, you can fight now. You can go hop on a wireless match. You can do the weird little tournament modes, even though they're both weird survival modes. And Supremacy stories. Now, the Femme Fatales are completely isolated in their own way. They don't get the tournaments, and they don't get the online play. And they do get stories, but they are very, very, very short. And do you want to know why? 1, 2. You only get 2 choices. This seems entirely against the point. What the hell are they thinking? Putting only 2 women by themselves in here. Is that all that old chestnut that women aren't as strong as men or whatever? I don't know what the hell this is about, but it's dumb. Why don't they just put them in with the men? It seems so weird to put them here on their own. They do have a story mode to themselves, But while the story mode for the men is they go through like 5 fights, I tried the story mode for one of these 2 women. I'll be buggered if I can remember which one it is, because they almost look alike thanks to this weird art style they got going on. But for whatever reason, their fights are just fighting the same girl twice, and then that's it. It's such a bizarre concept. But whatever. It plays exactly the same. Like, there's no difference whatsoever. That, like, the women... I've noticed that both the women are weaker in general in comparison to some of the men. But other than that, and by weaker, I mean they literally just do less damage to the stamina bar, which means their fights go for even longer than necessary. Kind of have a problem with the weaker fighters going up against each other in this game. It makes the fights feel too long, especially with the controls being as stiff as they are. It means that you just don't really get that... It just doesn't really feel fast or even particularly exciting. Just because you don't get that much... Since there's not much damage being done. Oh yeah, I forgot about the charge attacks, but every time I tried to do it, the AI would just immediately run up to me and just throw a punch at me, and that's literally the first time in like the 2 hours that I've been playing this that I've seen the AI actually attempt it. It seems like the AI just doesn't even like it that much. Yes, there are higher difficulty modes, but I can't even imagine playing them. I imagine the AI just parrying literally every attack you throw out because it's a dick. Oh, come on. Literally, as soon as I press the X button, the thing comes up. Press circle, you dimwit! But it comes up literally with an X already through it because I pressed the button just before it actually came up. What a useless button prompt. And it's just bullshit like this. It's just impossible to tell when something is going to happen that you need to be worried about. I'm going to get my shit kicked in just like 2 seconds. Now, I did do a fair few fights with the women, and I don't think they can do stuff like have their legs broken or their neck broken. I might have just not gotten the right attacks in, or had the right attacks happen to me to actually have that stuff happen, but it just, yeah. They're just isolated over here instead of being with the other 18 that they include with the game for some reason. So yeah, I'm done. I cannot be bothered playing this anymore. It's a really stiff and uninspired fighting game. A lot of the characters feel really similar to each other. Some of the mechanics are really frustrating to deal with. And it's the stiffest fighting game I have ever played. I don't like it one bit, and this is pretty much right at the bottom. Like, even Reality Fighters, for all the fact that that game was average, it still had more enjoyable fighting than this. So, yeah. There you go. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.